And this is Let's Get To. I'm your host, James Christopher, and this is our 150th episode of our show. And what can I say, everyone? Like they said in that movie starring that one guy that came out that one time, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains.
Welcome to Let's Get To, the baseball show from the fans' perspective. Now here's your host, James Christopher.
And yes, the 150th episode of Let's Get To. I am your host, James Christopher. We're coming to you from the studio because another rain out in Normal. We were rained out a few weeks ago. We were rained out when we recorded this episode. Good to see Matt and the team. Bummed we couldn't see a game. But yeah, this is the 150th episode of Let's Get To, our baseball series. And I want to say from the jump, as someone who spent 15 years in the filmmaking business, still runs a really prominent film festival, audience is what matters to me beyond anything else. And I am not the kind of guy that would do this if no one was watching or listening. And so it's a real pleasure to get to keep doing it. It is an honor that you have allowed me to keep doing it. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've had a lot of really cool moments, a lot of really cool adventures from the Army and in a year-long deployment, making a lot of films, first festival wins, really big festival wins. This is exciting as anything that I've done. We are a different kind of baseball show. I understand the formula to be successful. I understand that I could rocket to the top of views or however you measure those things if I came out super controversial, if I came out with super hot takes, if I was negative, if I abused people online, and it's just not worth doing. So one of the things that we really wanted to do was make this show different. We wanted the show to be different in subject. So that's why we focus on Collegiate Summer League and why we focus on minor league baseball, both affiliated and independent, because we believe that what they're doing needs to be noticed, needs to be talked about, because in many ways, they are preserving the heart and soul of the game we love. Baseball is a game that is losing fans. It's losing popularity. It seems like the people running it don't really know how to keep it popular at the major league level. And we're about to drive off a cliff that is a CBA that I think will, look, if 94 lost fans that you wouldn't get back, I'm pretty sure 2021 will too. The landscapes are so different and much more ripe to lose fans and not get them back now than we were then. But there are people doing it right, and that is at the minor league level. And so it has been a blast to not only explore what they're doing, but explore the country that I love while we're doing it. I feel like some of those old Captain America stories where I'm on a motorcycle and I'm reconnecting myself with the people I'm serving. And so it's been a blast, and I've met some of the absolute best people doing it. One of the things that you're going to always find on this show is we're going to do our best to be positive. Even when we're painting a picture that is reflective of what's going on, we want to at least be a positive voice. There's too much negativity out there. And every day when I feel like we hit rock bottom as a culture when it comes to negativity, it turns out we didn't. So one of our goals will always be to try to give it to you straight, but also bring a little bit of fun, bring a little bit of light, and bring a little bit of happiness in what is sometimes a pretty mundane, unhappy world. Before we jump into the episode, though, we have to thank a lot of people. I want to first of all thank my wife Jessica for jumping again. Like, she is the Annie to my Ray, and I'm her Annie to her Ray. I mean, it's a mutual respect thing, and we're supportive of each other. But she's never looked at me and said, no, that idea is a bridge too far. It's too crazy. You can't go for it. So Jessica will be on the show a little bit later on, but I have to thank her for everything that she has done to make this show successful. I want to thank Andy and Scott and Tim and Andrew and Jess and Dawn and all the people that have supported the show, been on the show, and that will keep helping me make the show better. The show is an evolution. It's always a work in progress. And again, I'm trying to be reactive to audience, and I'm always going to keep trying to improve it. And I want to thank all the teams who have been like, sure, come on. It shocks me when some teams will say no, because at the end of the day, the most commitment you need is 10 minutes of your time for me to promote you. But it happens. And people's egos get in their way. And I want to appreciate all of those who've trusted me with their brand, with their story, and allowed me to tell it. It's how I look at it. I look at it as trust. And I want to thank all the people who have become a part of my baseball family or let me become a part of their baseball family. And in fact, I'm very excited because a bunch of them wanted to jump on to help celebrate 150.
Hey, what's going on? It's Eric the Peanut Guy with your Tri-City DESTIHLs, straight from Geisa Stadium. And I want to say happy 150th episode to James and the entire Let's Get To crew. You really seriously helped me get through 2020. Your regular podcasts kept me feeling like I was at the ballpark even when I wasn't. So thank you so much for that. And also, I've been able to meet so many amazing people remotely from the interviews you do. And what I love is that you get to know people on a personal level and why they love baseball, and it really connects the hometown baseball, minor league baseball community. So congratulations. Here's to 150 more. Woohoo!
Oh, hi, this is Ben Hill, minor league baseball's traveling man. I'm here in New York City to wish the Let's Get To podcast a hearty congratulations on 150 episodes. To James and everyone involved with the podcast, you're doing excellent work, focusing on positive stories, giving the fan experience, and giving a platform and helping to raise the profile of individuals such as myself, a man of the year at one time. I appreciate it. Congratulations, guys. Keep up the good work.
Jim, I just want to say congratulations on getting Let's Get To 150 episodes. Hell of a feat, buddy. You bring so many baseball fans together, from minor league fans to major league fans to Astro fans to Yankee fans. Everybody can come together and talk baseball on your show. It's so great to listen to your guests and you talk. It's awesome. Just love it. Thanks for having me along for the ride. It's been so much fun to get to know you and to be able to listen and be a small part in your baseball community. Best of luck moving forward. I know it's only going to get bigger and better for you. 150 episodes. Congratulations. Let's Get To. Subscribe now on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Boom.
Hey, it's Emily from Breaking Balls Podcast. I wanted to congratulate Let's Get To Podcast and James on their 150th episode. You guys are awesome. I love your content. And my favorite part about your content is probably all of the minor league stuff, because I admittedly never really followed the minor leagues, and you guys have opened up my world and my eyes to a whole nother side of the sport that I'd been missing out on. So here's to another 150 episodes.
James, congratulations on 150 episodes. You bring a voice of positivity and enthusiasm and fun and love for baseball. I'm so glad you're part of this media landscape in minor league baseball and major league baseball. I figured the best way I could celebrate your 150th episode is with a Helmet Sunday featuring the Philly Fanatic at my Phillies Citizens Bank Park. Congratulations on 150 episodes.
Hey, Let's Get To. Emmy here with Ruth. Just want to say congratulations on 150 episodes. You're the best.
Hi, James. This is Spencer, your friend from New Jersey, a.k.a. at Musician DMD, taking a time out from the hashtag New York Yankee Cap of the Day to wish you congratulations for the 150th episode of Let's Get To. Looking forward to 150 more and beyond, and continued success. It's going to be great. You're like a fine wine. You just get better with each episode.
James, Let's Get To podcast videos, man. They've been great. Heard that you are celebrating your 150th episode. That's awesome. So happy for you. Congratulations on that. And looking forward to seeing all your upcoming travels.
Yeah, thanks so much for including us in your opening day video this year. It was awesome.
All right, so from Patrick, Corey, Baseball Mapper, all the best, and to another 150. Good luck, man.
Hey y'all, Let's Get To. It's Braves Emily, and I just wanted to wish y'all a happy 150th episode. I love what y'all are doing, the attention you're bringing to minor league baseball, and can't wait to hear more.
What's up, guys? Astros Fans UK here. Just want to say a big congratulations on reaching 150 episodes of Let's Get To. Terrific podcast. Love the focus on the Astros when it's there. Love the focus on the minor leagues. Never afraid to tell it like it is. Here's to the next 150. Go Astros.
Hey all, it's Alex here in New York. I wanted to wish a congratulations to James and the Let's Get To crew on 150 episodes. This amazing accomplishment, especially in this year of just trials and tribulations, to achieve such a high watermark for content. and shining a light on America's pastime in a way that so many of us just rarely ever get to see. Thank you for being a voice of positivity and optimism in these otherwise crazy times. So thank you for 150. Congrats. And here's to 150 more.
Hey, Jim, congratulations. 150 shows. It's my favorite baseball podcast, and I'm looking forward to the next 150. Congrats.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just wanted to get on here and tell you what I like about the Let's Get To podcast, celebrating its 150th episode. I really love the detail that it goes into with the minor leagues. I feel like there's a lot of baseball podcasts that don't talk about the minor leagues at all and how great and exciting some of these stadiums are. And of course, the host, James, dear friend of mine and a great guy, puts out quality content all the time. Thank you.
Hi, James. Mike here. Just wanted to say congratulations on your 150th episode. Looking forward to the next 150. Can't wait till our ballpark chasing paths cross and we can watch a game together, get an adult beverage, and toast someone with a Holler and a Swaller. Congrats, man.
Hi, this is Ken and Matt from the Baseball Travelers on Twitter. Congratulations on 150 episodes. Let's get to.
Congratulations to James, Christopher, and the entire Let's Get To team on your 150th show. I really appreciate how you all focus on family, community, and taking care of each other and the community. That's what baseball is all about. Let's get to.
Hey, what's up, guys? Ed from the Deadhead Chronicles here. I want to take a second to wish a happy 150th show anniversary to the Let's Get To crew. What you guys are doing for the minor leagues is absolutely awesome. Keep it going. Don't stop. And let's get to.
So again, thank you to all of you guys who came on the show. If you're watching the show or listening, go find them, follow them, let them be part of your baseball family. I promise I don't steer you wrong when it comes to people. And hopefully I'm not steering you wrong when it comes to this episode. We have a great episode ahead of you, so stay with us.
Holler and a Swaller, a chug of ballpark brew, presented by The Hitter Sports.
So we are doing a very makeshift Holler and a Swaller. Scott, this in many ways reminds me of how you and I first built our friendship, sitting, drinking, sadly, in empty hotel rooms in the wee hours of the morning. Of course, now we're old.
Yeah, there's no Jameson.
And it's only 9:27.
It's only 9:27. Yeah, but
rain out tonight.
Yeah, you know what happens. Yeah, it happens, and I kind of love the fact that we missed the game, that the game was rained out, and then because it happens. We haven't experienced that yet on the show.
Not really, no.
Every time we've shown up somewhere, a game's been held, but
yeah.
Let's be honest, in the Midwest this year, it's been really, really wet. Yeah, you would think Tracy Lords was here in the Midwest this year. But
it's our 150th episode, the first one of not being a family-friendly show with Tracy.
Sorry about that. No, she was a very good actress in the 90s and 2000s.
I think I had a poster.
She was mainstream.
I had a poster.
She was mainstream.
Yeah. But we're in Normal, Oklahoma. No, we're not. We're in Normal, Illinois, because this is also, we've had a couple of rehearsals for Holler and a Swaller. When the funny thing is the minute the rainout happened, we went to the bar.
Yeah, I mean,
3 hours ago.
What else do you do?
Yeah.
But no, in all honesty, it's still been a great trip.
Yeah.
And still getting to see the corn crib, still getting to go out there. That's been a lot of fun.
So I want to talk about the history of the show because it is 150 episodes, and the show, you were always a part of the show. I remember, man, and you don't even know the whole part of the story, but we were shooting A Chance of Snow in the December of 2017, and I was distracting myself from the fact that my lead actor had gone off the face of the earth.
Right.
We couldn't find him. And I'm walking through the mall before a movie starts, and you and I are tossing around names. And Let's Get To wasn't even, like, we were going through, I mean, I think we had 100 things. Now here we are, 150 episodes in. What have been some of the highlights for you? Some of the things that you're the most proud of when you look at this body of work?
Well, there's several things. There's several interviews. There's several, you've had guys like Reed Ryan on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. But you've also had guys that are just starting out in their careers, and you've had them on as well. And I think everybody gets equal treatment. Everybody has the opportunity to learn things from one another. But my most my most impressive part, the one thing that I like the most is nobody expected. I remember in March of 2020 when COVID happens, spring training closes up. At the time, the show was kind of, it's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that. We had a hodgepodge.
We didn't really know what it was.
We were finding our legs.
Yeah, and letting the show find itself,
and
really.
COVID helped do that. I hate to say that, but
yeah,
if you guys remember, for those of you who've been around for a while, Jim and I were into the 1970s for our favorite teams of the 1970s. We're trying to find show ideas.
Yeah.
You, Andy, and I would sit around and make great conversations, and Andy would do Dusty Baker impersonations and talk about Hank Aaron. But
Andy doing his like best Astros, like if you were to plan an Italian meal based on Astros players' last names, like that's what 2020 was at the beginning, because we all thought that was a few weeks away.
But 2020 was really difficult, and then baseball came back, and baseball didn't come back in the big fashion. Baseball came back by places exactly like here in Normal, and so it's the improvisation that we had to do, but it's also the improvisation that guys like Matt Durkin had to do in Normal, that David Schmall did with the Car Shield League in O'Fallon. These guys really pivoted. They made a league. They made something that people could come out to, and they kept their ballpark safe. And they stayed within state regulations. They had areas roped off and chained off, and you can sit here and you can't sit there. I love the creativity that these guys had, that they had all over. Sugarland did the same thing, right? We were down there last year.
Yeah.
They created something. And as a result of that, we've seen them this year carry that over. I don't know if they would have had it otherwise. So it's the improvisation that COVID forced us to make that we've also seen.
It's very independent filmmaker.
It really is.
You have to be smart, because in independent film, you can't. In independent film, your films, my films, you never outspend a problem. You have to outthink a problem.
Right.
And that's what they did. And I'll say this about particularly Matt Durkin and the Normal Cornbelters. They changed the face of our show, because I believe had 2020 not happened, we would have worked our way down affiliated minor leagues, and we might not have gotten to such a bad way, but it would have been easy to gloss over the wonderful things happening here and in O'Fallon.
They would not have,
and the Northwoods League.
They would not have shown up on our radar had we had other things to be watching that are more in the news, that are more widely publicized. But these guys got on our radar because of what they were doing, and I love it. It's changed us,
and that's the thing.
It's changed them, and I love it.
It's changed the show. And it's actually a level of baseball that now I think I am more in love with than just about anything else. I would much rather, because what do they say about affiliated minor league baseball? They don't care who wins or loses. Here, it's guys playing hard. They care about who wins and loses. Fans are connected because they're here for the whole summer.
Yeah.
It is idyllic baseball in my mind. And if we hadn't read about, Normal was first, I think, on our radar. Bismarck was early on our radar. O'Fallon, and then Sugarland figuring out a way to play baseball. I don't know that the show, I can't imagine the show without that being so integral to the process of the show.
Completely agree. So for me, that, and I like to see how much it's impacted you, but for me, that is absolutely my highlight of 150 episodes in. Good Lord. We've come a long way since 102-degree day in Tulsa, watching a minor league game.
7-inning doubleheader before it was cool enough to hate.
The first game was at 4:30. I remember, because my bald head was sweating before 5 and pouring off. But I just think we've come a long way, and I think that's really cool. I like that.
I want to also, because this is the Holler And A Swaller segment.
Yeah, we got to get there.
And what's been really cool for me, and it's sponsored by the Hitter Sports. And
hey, Jim, why do you like the Hitter
Sports?
Sports so much?
But I'm glad you asked that. 150 episodes in, people were like, "Why?" It's just a random Twitter account, and it's more than a random Twitter account. He's thoughtful. He's funny. He's progressive where he needs to be. He's sort of old school, grumpy old man where he needs to be as well. But in many ways, my relationship with the Hitter Sports is proof of what social media can do. Because, and I blame our friends at Before the Pitch, who we haven't had on this year. He's super busy.
Yep.
But Before the Pitch, apparently the Hitter Sports was saying, how can anybody still be an Astros fan? And Before the Pitch introduces me to him, and we kind of go at it. But you know what? We go at it by listening to each other. And I think it really proves the point that I think now we think of social media, we think of this toxic environment, when really the idea is that you should be able to communicate and make connections. And so there's nobody more passionate about baseball than this guy. And I'm honored to have him part of the show. And that's a big reason why I'm glad that he agreed to lend his name to this segment.
And he does sponsor Holler and a Swaller.
So what do you got? What do you have? We both
have something from DESTIHL Brewery. You do yours first.
So I've got the DESTIHL Brewery. I got the Amra, which is the Mango India Pale Ale, recommended by Matt Durkin of the Normal Cornbelters.
Yes, it was. What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, really, really light, very crisp, very flavorful. Yours makes me want to try.
Yeah. So first of all, everybody knows my my affinity for Tiger King. And the show, and then last year the fancy name that the Sugarland Skeeters League was using,
so they didn't get sued,
right? But either way, this is called "Here Kitty Kitty," and to do that properly, you say "Here Kitty Kitty." Mama's got some treats for you.
All right, you cats and kittens.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens! I'm drinking a "Here Kitty Kitty," and let me tell you, this is a lager that is brewed with corn and Frosted Flake cereal. Oh my! Yeah, I'm dead serious. No, it's got Frosted Flake cereal.
So take a sip.
No, I have, and it's not too sweet.
Would you say it's great?
I was going to. I was really going to, but you didn't.
Should we rehearse this next time?
No, we can do it next time. Yeah, we can do it. But anyway, I really like this. I was afraid it might be too sweet. It's totally not. Just like the girl at the bar said.
Can we switch for just a second? I'm so morbidly curious.
You've got to. This is the guy who said how much he hated it. There's no way. Now watch this.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Give it back.
Yeah, that's good. So
That's
I
good
guess,
too.
hey, let me just say, because you're on this segment and
wearing my Green Bay Booyah jersey.
Green Bay
from the
Booyah, Norman Cornbelters Star Wars jersey. I don't get to talk about how much you meant to the show enough. And you have to understand that Scott's appearances ebb and flow. He's very generous. He doesn't have an ego about this. But this show isn't anything without your encouragement, your ideas, and everything else. And so I'll never be able to repay enough. So to you, I want to toast you.
I appreciate it.
Holler and a Swaller, baby.
Holler and a Swaller, and I'll pay him the $20 later.
From the Bleachers, the Let's Get To Game of the Week.
And welcome back to From the Bleachers. Now you can imagine 150 episodes, almost 3 full baseball seasons. We've seen a lot of games from a lot of bleachers. And I wanted to look at a handful of our favorite experiences from across the life of the show so far. Producer's note, we would have mentioned the Normal Cornbelters, but Scott McIntyre is a bit stealer, and we recorded this after we did Holler and a Swaller, and he mentioned them. So we're going to leave them out of this bit for now in the name of showing a little bit more love to a lot of other great teams who are doing it right. So first up, one of our very first main experiences covering a team through the lens of this show was also my first real immersive alternative brand event. And that was the Corpus Christi Hooks as the Blue Ghosts. This week on Let's Get To, we headed down to the coastal bend of Texas to see the Corpus Christi Hooks, who were playing as the Blue Ghosts. Lots of people end up at the ballpark early to take in batting practice. Not everyone gets to do it on the deck of a World War II era aircraft carrier. The USS Lexington, also known as the Blue Ghost, is now a floating museum dedicated to naval warfare both in World War II and beyond. We loved looking around, but now it's time to head up to take the quick trip to the flight deck for batting practice. Still going. This is at the point where I was really glad I joined the Army. Pretty soon we'll see sunshine. And here we are. Batting practice was set up at the stern of the ship. I was told in Army terms that means the back. For those of you worried about the environmental impact of batting practice, they had several boats set out to catch all the balls, including some people in kayaks helping to police up all of the projectiles. Before the Astros prospects dug in, the Hooks gave some local military personnel an opportunity to take some hacks. When it was time for the Hooks to dig in, however, you could really see the ball fly a little bit differently. Rusty and Sammy were not going to be left out of the fun, however. So we arrive at Whataburger Field, one of my absolute favorite ballparks. You're greeted by the statue entitled For the Love of the Game. It's an 18-foot statue depicting a young ball player, and it's believed to be the largest bronze statue of a baseball player. The stadium was decked out for Memorial Day, including adorned with the number 16, representing CVN 16, which is the USS Lexington's nomenclature. We loved everything about the Blue Ghost iconography, most importantly, the tattoo-inspired logo. The folks at the Hooks really dove into the entire World War II theme, including all the video board presentation and even the music played between innings. We love their dedication to community and to their fan base, really encapsulated by the statue of Del Hillard, who until his death was known as the Corpus Christi Hooks' greatest fan. Like we said, the park is just beautiful, and we really hope that anybody that makes a trip to Corpus or Port Aransas or any of the surrounding areas really takes the time to take this park in. The full episode drops Thursday, which includes an interview with JD Davis, the Corpus Christi Hooks marketing director. Now, one of my favorite ballparks of all time, and one of my favorite ballpark experiences to this day, came when we took the entire clan to the Tacoma Rainiers. In the movie Field of Dreams, they indicate that baseball heaven might be in Iowa. While I do believe that there is a baseball heaven, as far as I've seen so far, it might be in Tacoma. Jessica, Jordan, Braxton, and Max and I took in the Tacoma Rainiers this June and were blown away by Cheney Stadium. While being one of the oldest parks we visited, you really can't tell to look at it as it's been kept in pristine condition. The thing that really struck me is just how green everything was. Not just the field, not just the wall, but the trees beyond the walls. And we couldn't have ordered a better day from the baseball gods, with a crisp blue sky above us, dotted with feathery, fluffy white clouds that seem to go on forever. Those of you who might remember, one of the things that bugged me by a few minor league parks we visited was the lack of identity. When you go to Cheney Stadium, it feels like the Rainiers' home field, as well it should. From the iconic R logo that you can see in different variations all over the field, to the reminders to the people of Tacoma that this is their team, it really does the thing that minor league baseball should be about. It captures that community in a very authentic and very real way. They are proud of their team, and they're proud of their town, and as they want to remind anyone who visits, this is our house. Minor league baseball in the western United States has a long, rich history, even though that history often made it move around a bunch as the MLB expanded westward. One of my favorite elements of the stadium are the lights that date back to the old San Francisco Seals Stadium. Look at that sky, look at that background, and tell me, how do you not fall in love? Cheney Stadium is named for Ben Cheney, a Washington businessman who helped construct the park and bring minor league baseball to Tacoma. We love the statue dedicated to him, surrounded by seats from the aforementioned San Francisco Seals Stadium. Cheney Stadium has taken the luxury box idea and improved on it. They still have that luxury box feel, but with an open communal area with a bar and restaurant that allow you to interact with other patrons and still have your excellent seat to the game. Fans get to the game early for good food and entertainment. My daughter Jordan, my grandson Braxton, and his dad Max. Most minor league baseball teams do a great job of in-game entertainment, but the Rainiers take it to 11, mostly due to Casey Catherwood, their creative director and in-game host. We also do want a special shout out to Rhubarb the Reindeer, one of our favorite mascots in sports. I even get the chance to check off a bucket list item by participating in one of the between inning games. Cheney Stadium really is a revelation. It really felt like it became a part of me as soon as I got there. It was an amazing experience getting a chance to spend the evening at this amazing ballpark with its ties to baseball past and its look towards baseball's future, with both the present and the future of my family, my amazing wife, my amazing daughter, and her beautiful family. So thank you, Tacoma, for a great evening, and thanks for helping remind us what minor league baseball is all about. "2020 was difficult for everyone, and we really applaud a lot of those teams who found the ability to keep playing. Now, we understand that this doesn't mean that if you're a team who didn't play, you're somehow less good or worthy. We understand everything that went into that, contrary to a really awkward guest we had on our show a few weeks ago, figure out who. But it was really nice to get out to see some baseball last season as the world felt like it was really going crazy. And one of our favorite experiences were out to see the Joliet Slammers.
From the bleachers, the Let's Get To Game of the Week.
So we are back here from the bleachers, and we're actually from the bleachers because I forgot the microphones.
That's okay.
So we're here.
I wasn't going to tell anyone.
Yeah, we're here. It's 25, but we're back from Juliet. We got back in Joliet. Did I say Juliet?
Yeah.
We've been rewatching Psych. So we're back from Joliet, the Slammers. Overall, first impressions of the ballpark in general.
Really, it's interesting when you're driving into Joliet, and maybe there's different routes in. I couldn't quite get the feel or the right vibe of the town. I couldn't tell if it was small town, big town. I read online that I think it's the third largest city in Illinois. So there's that. And we kept kind of discovering little pockets where you would find areas that were very rural and then areas that were very city. So
the world's weirdest airport.
Strange airport.
Yeah.
But then once you actually drive into the downtown area, which you can tell is under a massive revitalization right now.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of construction, but you can tell there's a lot of really cool old buildings. And the ballpark kind of just jumps out at you as very impressive.
It's a very impressive ballpark.
Yeah.
We both thought it was newer than it was because it's 20 years old, but it does not look 20 years old. But I do want to touch on one thing before we get into the ballpark. So, like I said, a lot of construction.
Oh, gosh. Downtown was pretty much entirely under construction.
Entirely under construction with detours leading other detours.
Yeah.
Again, they're under revitalization.
Yeah.
That happens.
I think it's going to be great when they're finished.
I think so too. But we see this long line of people around the building. We can't figure out why. And it looks like they're going to a record store.
Yeah.
We're like,
that's random.
What is happening? And the GM, Heather from the Joliet Slammers, like, oh, it's National Record Day.
Which we had no idea, of course. But then she also proceeded to tell us there's 3 record stores in Joliet, all of which are doing big promotions for National Record Day. So
I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. One of your favorite parts was the building off to right field with the statue.
Okay, so there is a structure of what's essentially a cross beam that would look like it was part of a construction project. And then they've got statues of just construction workers sitting on top of that cross beam. So it looks like they're overlooking the park and they're watching the game itself. Yeah. Then right behind that cross beam is this building that has kind of a roof caved in. And it really looked like it was building a whole shtick, right? Like it looked like it was part of the ambiance or the atmosphere of this kind of older, like industrial style building. But no, Heather told us that has not always looked that way.
The roof flew off in Memorial Day.
It actually kind of adds a neat atmosphere to it.
It really does.
To be totally honest.
But I think overall we did love the park.
Yeah.
There's a couple of features of the park I want to talk about, but one of the things that struck me, and it happened when we first walked in, was people thanking us for covering the team. And we even met a fan.
Yep. So many people were just like, thank you so much for coming out and talking about these guys.
I got to be honest. I think when I posted the selfie of me in the hat was the widest reaction of people on Twitter and Facebook loving that look.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So many people were like, got to go. They might have seen some orders already.
That's so great.
One of the things I liked about it was the pod. So what did you think? Like the Joliet Slammers has as a brand, as an identity that we showed off in the Show Me the Merch earlier this episode. Overall, though, Nerds Heard, Deep Dish, and the Tully Monsters.
Yeah.
What did you think of some of the...
I loved all the branding. I think it's super fun. If you're not familiar, or I don't know if you've explained it already, but
little bit, yeah. But
so the Tully Monsters essentially are It would be like the equivalent of the Barton Springs Newt here in Austin. Like, it's just apparently, what is it? It's their state.
It's their state fossil.
Fossil.
Which we have in Texas. And I know every other thing about our state except for I don't know what the state fossil
Who knows
is.
what that is?
But no, I love
but
that.
People really felt attached to it. And she said that merch was selling faster than just about anything. And the nerds heard.
And the nerds heard,
of course,
is adorable.
Super fun. We did have a funny moment where you asked me what I thought of the Deep Dish logo. And I was like, I don't know. It seems a little cheesy. But
Jessica jokes. I don't know if they're better or worse than dad jokes.
A lot of cheese.
Before there's a couple of things I want to get to for the gameplay, but again, like the people at the park, the fan, the super fan that came up to us to thank us for being there, and it's not like we're there. We don't bring that up because we're looking for a pat on the back for covering them.
Yeah,
it is. I think it goes to the mission of the show.
Yeah,
that there is great baseball everywhere if you look for it.
To that point, real quick on great baseball, I was feeling like the talent of the game was looking heads and shoulders above the best in the second game over the first game. But as we were talking to people, it was actually a round robin draft.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
situation.
Yeah, they did
So
a draft.
really the players on the field are pretty equally matched, and it sounds like it's just kind of depends on the day of the week.
Baseball.
Yeah, exactly. It's baseball, like every other team out there, I guess.
The ball was flying out
yeah.
of the park.
We saw so many home runs. That was amazing.
And monster shots. Like you were the one I missed, and I took a photo of the guy. You're like, dude, that's rolling down the street. Like it left
it
the
was
park.
Gone. Well, they even have a kind of cool way to measure when you go out of left field. Tell them about that.
Oh, yeah. So that was actually my favorite part, to the point that I texted our contributors.
Yeah.
So, and it's such it reminded me of what I've heard about Baltimore Orioles Park at Camden Yards to do something similar, where on the fire station across the street, they have it marked out as like 560 feet. I'll have the image up under our interview, but I thought that was
super fun.
Super fun. The other fun part was they adopted something that the Red Sox do, I guess, there where they do Sweet Caroline, but they didn't.
Yes.
Because
they said they put a massive graphic up with Sweet Caroline and the big red X through it and said, can't do it because of social distancing.
There's no holding hands. There's
no touching. So instead, what did they play?
I love the fact that they went to Keep Your Hands to Yourself by the Georgia Satellites.
So fun.
A ridiculously underrated rock song.
Yeah.
Completely underrated.
But appropriate for COVID times.
But appropriate for oh my God, that's why they picked it.
You didn't get that? Oh my God.
This very second, I was just like, oh my God, keep your hands. See, I'm really smart, but sometimes I'm not so fast on the uptake. I just was like into the song that
you were so into it. I didn't realize you didn't pick up on the joke there. That's great.
And to show that we're having transparency, I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to let it. This season, we jumped in with both feet. And one of the places we jumped into was a place with, now that I think about it, it's a little deserty to be jumping in with both feet. But boy, what a great time did we have at the Tri-City Dust Devils.
From the Bleachers, the Let's Get To Game of the Week.
So we're coming to you from the Bleachers here at Geisa Stadium, and anybody that comes to this ballpark knows this guy. Eric the Peanut Guy is with us live-ish. Eric, how's it going?
It's going great. It's really special to have you and your family here tonight. Thanks.
It's been amazing to meet you. Like, I feel like we've really connected really quickly over the one social media app that doesn't allow for connection.
Zoom? Twitter.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Twitter. Unfortunately, Zoom is too much of our human connection
Too
these
much.
days.
Yes.
You've worked here for a long time. What are some of your favorite parts of this ballpark?
This ballpark's special. This is our 21st year, but our 20th season, of course, with last year getting cut. We've had visitors from around the country visit Geisa Stadium. It's a ballpark that was built in the 90s for an independent team.
Okay.
But upgrades keep happening year after year. So it's not the flashiest, newest ballpark, but it's a really nice ballpark. But the one thing that visitors keep saying is that, and I think this is the biggest compliment, they say it's one of the friendliest ballparks they've been to. So
our experience so far would definitely agree with that. It's been super friendly. Why don't you hang tight and take a look at what we saw when we saw it, but you're seeing it now.
Braxton, where are we going tonight?
We're going to see a baseball game.
Braxton was right. It was time for baseball, and even Kennedy was dressed for the occasion. Bright-eyed and excited, Jordan, the grandkids, and I hit the road for the Tri-Cities all the way from Portland, Oregon. What a drive. The drive was beautiful, it was relaxing, it was fun, and it took us on a direct path to Geisa Stadium, kind of a baseball oasis in the arid environment. Geisa Stadium is one of the most user-friendly ballparks you'll see, with wide concourses that are easy to get around. But for me, the standout feature of this ballpark is the view. It's breathtaking, to the point that I found myself taking a picture about every 12 minutes. Now, one of the smartest things I've ever seen at a ballpark is a large sunshade that keeps the majority of the seats in shadow. It's as if the ballpark realized that the people they serve didn't want to roast. And by the way, as it gets darker, when the sun starts going down, we get the perfect example of a baseball sky. A Dust Devils game is, win, lose, or draw, a party. And that has everything to do with Eric the Peanut Guy and his sidekick, Dusty. Eric, in the vein of some of the other great ballpark entertainers, keeps the game moving between innings with games, interviews, and leading cheers.
Thanks so much for being here. Dusty and I are dressed up. We're up here on the peanut patio, the top row of the third base bleachers. We get a good view of the action up here. We want to give a very special welcome to any out-of-towners visiting us today, especially my good friend Jim from Austin, Texas, the host of the Let's Get To podcast. Thanks for being here with your family, Jim.
Thanks for having us.
Make sure you check out that later on. We'll have more about that. Folks, we're going to have some fun tonight. It's kind of hot, but it looks like I'm the only seat still in the sun, so that's okay. Everyone else enjoy the shade. It'll get up here soon. Our boys are coming up to bat. Dusty's wearing a cowboy hat. Tonight's going to be great. Everyone, let's yell, "Go Dust Devils," on the count of 3. Dusty, help lead us. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Go Dust Devils!
From Take Me Out to the Ball Game to dancing in the bleachers, there's always fun to be had. But a Dust Devils game is more than goofy contests between innings and baseball prospects. It's heart. And there is no better example of that heart than Ed Mertens. Ed, the father of the Peanut Guy, used to go to ball games to see his son. And anytime he saw a kid that maybe had special needs, or a kid who almost but didn't quite catch a foul ball, or maybe just a kid who looked like they were lacking some baseball spirit, Ed came to the rescue. He would gift the kid, anonymously through the team, a souvenir, something they could take home to maybe make that day just a little bit brighter. And after Ed passed, the team established a secret fund and gift cabinet to make sure that that tradition lived on. The love of the game surpasses all things. And if you have any conversation with Eric the Peanut Guy about his dad, you know that that's who his dad was, love. And love was what I felt when I was out there for our brief evening. It was a beautiful ballpark, beautiful fans, getting to meet in person someone I respect so much, getting to watch my daughter teach her kids the game. I will say there was one moment when the Dust Devils came back and the tension got really high that Braxton hid his eyes and said, "I can't watch." That was maybe one moment where I was afraid to make him a baseball fan, but we'll get there. I don't know what brought me to the Tri-Cities to see the Dust Devils. What turn of events a decade ago that somehow put me on this particular path that brought me there on that night. I wouldn't have realized when it happened, but I thank God that it did. Go Dust Devils.
So that has been our view of Geisa Stadium. Thanks so much for checking out. Thank you, Eric, for jumping in.
Thank you. This has been an honor of my summer. I've been looking forward to this all year long.
That's right. So get out to a ballpark, get you some peanuts, get you some Cracker Jack.
Let's get to.
And of course, one of my favorite ballpark experiences, probably the ballpark experience I'll be talking about when I'm in a nursing home and the nurses all think, "Yeah, right, dude, you had a baseball show. Please be quiet. Watch The Price is Right." And that was our trip to the Field of Dreams.
Jim found himself on that magical field, the one that will give you your childhood dreams back, until he heard a calling. Now he's faced with a choice: stay and live his dream, or follow his destiny and step over the line. If you record it, they will watch.
And welcome to Let's Get To. And yes, I did cross the line. I crossed the line because I love this sport, I love this show, and I love the baseball that we cover. So it's the easiest decision I've ever made. Now you might notice that I am in a very special spot. You might notice behind me all the corn. I am standing on the dirt from the field as part of the movie set for the movie Field of Dreams. We are having a great time. We've had a great time in both Indiana and Iowa, but I wanted to start by showing you a little bit of our stay at the Field of Dreams movie site. I'm a big movie guy, and obviously a big baseball guy. I mean, you're watching this show, and with Field of Dreams being my favorite baseball movie, the anticipation we felt getting closer and closer to the Field of Dreams movie site was almost spiritual. And the first thing we see, as if scripted by the baseball gods, was the end of a youth baseball tournament being played on the field outside the Kinsella house. I can't imagine how it must have felt playing in that outfield, the corn behind you, along with all the ghosts of baseball's past, and the iconic house to your left. Now when you rent the Field of Dreams house, it's yours for the night. No one stays with you, there are no guides or official personnel. It's like the world's best Airbnb. The Kinsellas leave you an alarm code, some keys, and a bottle of wine, and it's all yours. It felt like staying in the Vatican when the Pope was out of town. It's that religious of an experience. That was the connection we felt. Jess and I felt at peace. We had smiles on our faces. We felt a connection to something good and pure. The spirit conveyed in the movie was alive in the site and in that house. Seeing the place where Ray carved in the bleachers how much he loved Annie, that resonates. We should have a partner in life like Ray and Annie, and I do. While I've never plowed our corn down, she supported me with no question down many a crazy endeavor. Jess really is my Annie. Like any good Airbnb, you need to learn the idiosyncrasies of the house. For us, it was learning how to turn the lights on. Yes, we got to turn the lights on. And boy, does that place pop at night. We had it all to ourselves. We drank wine, we held hands, we chatted, we caught up on things that we maybe missed during the daily routine of our life. And then I put on a hitting display. I took the trip around the bases, and yes, I didn't want anyone ripping my shirt off. And then just like in the movie, people came. They'd pop in long enough to have a catch, take a photo, share a moment, and it's free to do so. They just ask for donations. Recommended, $20 per person. The next day we got a tour of the house we've been staying in the whole evening, filled with memorabilia and in places painstakingly recreating the set itself. The guide was fun, informative, and taught us a lot about the movie. The one spoiler that really hit me, because I really want you to take this tour yourself, Doc Graham's friends in the film who extolled the wonderful stories of that man were the actual friends of the actual Doc Graham. They had come to the producers making sure that his story was correct and it was true, and the producers just put them in the movie. The obituary read by Terrence Mann is his actual obituary. That story connects with me so much. The blue hat story, that's all I want in life. To love someone and be loved by someone that much. That it happened in real life gives me hope for the future. We can't recommend enough taking the time to spend the night at the house. We saw so many memories in the guest book, families, couples who left feeling a little bit closer and a little bit more connected to each other. Isn't that what baseball's all about? And like all magic, it was time for it to end. For the lights to go out. But that place, just like this game, will live in us forever. As I said in the open, this show is all about community. It's all about people through the lens of baseball. And we just can't thank enough all those teams who opened up their ballparks and the whole experience to us so openly. And thank you so much. It will be one of the great honors of my life for you to allow us the opportunity to try to tell that story
and hopefully shed a light on all the great things that you're doing.
Who's on first? The Let's Get To Local 9, brought to you by Zoomer Sport.
So we are super excited to jump on to Let's Get To. We've got Alex Coil, the voice of your Florence Yalls. Alex, how's it going, man?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. I want to start before we jump into just a little bit about you and a little bit about the team. I am an old school Houston kid. I am a Cowboys fan, however, but I love the color scheme. It's very old school Houston Oilers, and it just really grabbed me when I first saw it.
Well, yeah, color scheme is great. They just seem to really mesh well. That you're comment about the Cowboys, I actually like that because I'm a Cowboys fan as well from Northwest Indiana, so that's a little odd, but yeah, go Cowboys for sure. But yeah, color scheme is great. It allows for some really awesome uniform combinations that we've been able to work with, some cool stuff, Negro League throwbacks that work with some former Negro League teams. So overall, it's a really good brand, and it's fun. It's fun for a lot of people, and it's new.
Yeah, and we're going to get into what it means and the connection, but let's talk a little bit about you. I mean, it's always interesting when we dive into minor league baseball and independent baseball, all walks of life. How did you go from being this kid that I presume liked watching baseball to end up being the play-by-play voice for an indie team?
Yeah, so started playing baseball when I was 2, like probably everybody here, everybody that likes baseball. But went out to Arizona State University. Currently going into my senior year there, actually, and got a lot of opportunities there. Gotten to work during spring training with some MLB franchises and some broadcasters there that have taught me a lot, and got to learn a lot from them. And then just reached out here during the off season and able to find a landing spot that was really good for me, and a really great organization in terms of, it is indie ball, but it's really run like a first-class organization. And I couldn't ask for a better spot to land, for sure.
And in a great league. I mean, it's a league full of really great identities and really great teams. One more about just sort of your path. I love baseball on the radio. There's the old saying, it's the only game you can see on a radio. Milo Hamilton, you might not know who he is, but he was the voice of the Astros when I was coming up. That's the voice of my childhood. What about you, man? Who was like a voice that kind of really grabbed you and kind of inspired you?
Yeah, well, growing up in Northwest Indiana, probably about 45 minutes to an hour from Chicago. So grew up big Cubs fan. So obviously it's Pat Hughes on the radio and Len Casper up until this season on TV. So those two guys really were huge in terms of everyday listening and watching. But my dad and my brother are big Reds fans. So got to watch a lot of the Brennemans and working in Reds booths during spring training. That was the team that the booth I worked in the most. Getting to know them and working and learning alongside some people that you really looked up to when you were younger really helped out a lot, and made me think, all right, you got to be a professional if you want to do this, and taught me a lot of things. And when you have a guy like, 2 guys, Pat Hughes, who will be in the Hall of Fame one day, and then Marty Brennaman, who's just probably maybe the second best or third best radio broadcaster of all time, it's pretty cool. So those guys look up to, and just great baseball knowledge from all of them, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, and not names we hear a lot on the show. Everybody says Harry Carey, and I'm like, I get it, but there's others.
Exactly.
Let's talk a little bit about the Yalls. So they go through a rebrand after an ownership change, and that's announced in 2019. And the brand is, first of all, one of the few rebrands that we've seen announced on this show where it was almost universally loved. There's always this percentage of people when other people have it and they're like, I don't get it. But then the pandemic hits. What was it like to kind of have to pause, or like for the organization to have to pause the real unveiling of that for a whole year?
Yeah, everybody that dealt with the pandemic is going to say it was tough. So we were in no different situation than everybody else during that. But, we were able to play a little bit of a 6-week season last year in what's called the Battle of the Bourbon Trail. We had the Yalls and the Freedom playing together. So a little mini half unveiling, I guess you could say. But as far as this year, I mean, the fans have really reacted so well. A lot of our merchandise is amazing. So a lot of cool things, a lot of, outside organizations that want to get some of our merch too and show it off. But yeah, when you have a good baseball team and a winning product on the field, that helps, obviously. Battling for first place right now, but so far so good with this season. And like you said, there are very few people that don't like the name or don't think it's a great idea. We've got nationwide recognition when we did make that name change, and it's my favorite name in baseball right now, that's for sure.
Give the fans real quick just a little history of what the name comes from, because I love that local touch. And
yes,
it's interesting for me that this worked when the Cleveland Guardians didn't work for me, and yet it's sort of a similar inspiration.
Yeah, so actually, a lot of people hear the word Yalls and are like, oh, the debate of whether that's a word or not. But there's actually a real story behind the reason for why Florence and why the Yalls here in this town. There's a water tower that was built around the 70s or 80s that right by the mall here in Florence. It said Florence Mall on there, but then you couldn't really advertise on a public utility, so the mayor was like, instead of rebranding the entire water tower, let's just change the M to a Y, and so it said Florence Yall on it, and so that's really the reason. That was one of the choices when we were doing our rebrand, and that's ended up being the final decision. And our mascot is Yall Star. He's got a head that looks like the top of the water tower, and so there we go.
I think that works just so well. And like you said, all the merch is just beautiful. We're going to be picking up a couple items to unveil on the show. Let's talk a little bit about the season. First of all, you talked about being battling it out for first base, and I think first place. I think that's what I love about indie ball. It's developmental, but you care about winning. So talk a little bit about just what the season's been like this far as the on-field product.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in first or second place the entire year. We started off with a 7-game win streak out of the gate, which, me in my first season in professional baseball, you thought you would never lose. But, team's been great, been consistent. You're going to go through your struggles, ups and downs throughout a season, some injuries here and there, but really been impressed by guys like Chad Sedio, a guy that's played as high as AAA. He's just consistent. He's a professional. He goes about it the right way. Trevor Crayport's putting up MVP numbers and learning a newer position to him in catcher. And then Luis Pintor with his glove. He's hurt right now on the injured list, but he's a flashy guy with the glove. He can make amazing plays, and he's a very consistent hitter as well. Recently, though, we had a 6-game road trip this past week, went 1-5. It's the first time we've had an under 500 week in quite some time. We're the last team in the league to get swept for the first time. So we're 3 games back right now, but with about 37 games left to play, there's plenty of time to make that up and getting some guys healthy here shortly, and it should be a good stretch run for sure.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the competition too in the league, because it's been kind of weird. You have 2 Canadian teams that aren't able to participate in the exact same way. You also have the Tri-City Valley Cats joining you from affiliated ball. What was that like, sort of getting the run up going and sort of how uncertain it is? And then therefore, how much are you looking forward to what should be a normal, hopefully more normal 2022 season?
Yeah, there are some rumors about balanced scheduling for next year in terms of teams getting to go to Canada and get to go to some various places that a lot of teams in the Frontier League haven't had the chance to do so. We did host Keep Quebec, which is basically the molding of those Canadian teams. They played their first probably 50 games on the road before they got the okay to go back home, and they just had their first home series over the weekend. So good for them. Glad they're back home, and they'll play a home schedule the rest of the year. So we hosted them, I believe it was Father's Day weekend. And, just to see the reactions from them, starting on the road so much, and they were battling for first place. Give it up to them. I couldn't even begin to imagine what it's like to be every day on the road for more than half a season. As far as joining with the Can-Am League and some of the other teams out east, that competition is going to be fun. We're going to get to see that here in about 2 weeks on a road trip. We had to Washington, Pennsylvania to face the Wild Things, but then we head to New Jersey to face Sussex County, and then on over to face the New Jersey Jackals. So fresh faces there, some new guys, but the competition's awesome. It's going to set up for a fun playoff run, but also fun playoffs too.
One of the things too, obviously, this minor league baseball, independent baseball,
Yeah.
It's all about the promotions.
Yes.
You guys got about a month left in your season. What are some of the big things we can look forward to? One of the things I'm pretty interested in is what's actually going to be happening. You have a mascot competition night. What's this all about?
Yeah, so we're going to have a bunch of mascots from around the area doing various things with the All-Star. We're actually shooting a promo video today. We'll have some special uniforms for that, so definitely come on out to the park for that one. That should be fun. You'll have a lot of familiar faces from the Cincinnati area and maybe some from even around the country. But we've had Marvel Night. We had Thanos bobblehead night a couple of weeks ago. We have another Marvel Night with an Iron Man bobblehead coming out. We had the 100th anniversary celebration of the Negro Leagues, which was supposed to happen last year. Did that this year with the Satchel Paige bobblehead giveaway. That's probably my favorite bobblehead that I have at the moment. Just really cool with how that worked out. And of course, you have your fan appreciation nights and 90s night coming up. I believe that's on Friday this week. So that should be fun.
You've reached a new level of old when your high school years become a theme night at a baseball stadium.
There you go. That's exactly right. See, it should be easy for people like you to figure out what to wear to the ballpark.
Yeah, I'll just buy some baggy jeans and look angry all the time, and that should do it. I'm more of a grungy early 90s kid. As we wrap up, one of the things I wanted to ask about just is the off season. How important is it because you guys did a great job of this through the pandemic and running up of keeping a social media presence going, keeping in touch with fandom, still selling merch on your website because there's collectors all over the country. How important is that?
I think fan engagement for really the entire year is important because you stay on top of the fans' mind. We do have some events in the scheduling works at the moment that are going to happen at the ballpark, even during the off season, which are going to be really, really cool for not just the team, but the city of Florence as well. And just keeping that profile. Indie ball is so different because you don't have that major league affiliation that you can lean on a lot of times. So you're doing a lot of your own work. I do want to shout out a guy that's taken over our social media, Nick. He's done a phenomenal job with a bunch of promotions there and just keeping on the front end of fans' minds. And really anytime you can get that national level outreach, and when they, if you go on a baseball road trip, Florence is going to be a stop on that trip.
Well, it's going to be a stop on one of our trips next year. He is Alex Coil. He is the voice of your Florence Yalls. Thanks for jumping on, man.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to see you next year.
Who's on first? The Let's Get To Local 9, brought to you by Zoomer Sport.
So we're excited to welcome to the show a familiar face, but in a different capacity. He's still the minor league mind to us, but right now he's the director of game entertainment for your Harrisburg Senators, Jess Knaster. Jess, first of all, how has it been, man? 2/3 of the way through the home slate of the schedule. What's it been like your first year in AA Harrisburg?
It's been a lot of fun. I think more so than anything else, and I know I can speak for anybody working in minor league baseball, but this year, especially after last year, seemed a little didn't seem necessarily certain that it was going to happen. I think there was all the talk was, 20 we'll be able to do this in 21, we'll be back to normal in 21, and then as we got closer to the year, it's like I don't know, we might not be able to do this. And then kind of magically, like a storybook, right before our opening day, which was the second week of the season, on field restrictions were lifted, so we were able to play games on field again. And then throughout the month of May, at least here in Pennsylvania, we were able to open up our seating to what it would normally resemble in a regular year. And so COVID is still there, but by and large, we've been able to have a normal season. And everybody who missed out on getting to work in this industry last year, I think is very happy to be able to do that again this year. And certainly that's the case here. The fans love being back and we love having them.
Let's talk about that, because one of the cool things, you allowed us to follow your journey from leaving the Midland Rockhounds, going to the winter meetings, all all the stuff that happened, many slip twixt the cup and a lip, as they say, including Lancaster not having baseball anymore. Does it feel like, though, everything happens for a reason and you've ended up in a good place?
I do have to kind of feel that way. I mean, certainly my journey is not unique. There are plenty of people in this industry who have bounced from place to place, internship to internship. But yeah, I do think that it all works out in the end if you want to have it work out. And certainly for me, it seemed multiple times like the world was shutting the door on my career in minor league baseball after Midland and things working out the way they did with other opportunities in the wintertime then. And then last year, getting my first full-time job in baseball, only for the combination of a global pandemic and hopefully once in a lifetime reorganization of minor league baseball, causing the Lancaster Jethawks and 42 other teams in minor league baseball to cease operations in minor league baseball. And of course, the Jethawks were just one of a few teams that folded altogether. But all of that luck kind of seemingly said collectively, yo, dude, this is not for you. And I was lucky enough to find this opportunity with the Senators, and I'm very happy here. It's a unique ballpark, as you'll see in a couple days. Unique ballpark, and it's a great market for baseball. And certainly, as someone whose job it is to entertain, when people come here wanting to be entertained, that makes it a whole heck of a lot easier.
Let's talk a little bit about one of the things that I loved, when we got to know each other, and one of the things I really respect about you is you're able to find a niche, you're able to find a home no matter where you were. And anybody that has a conversation about your past, the fact that you fit in and had an enjoyable time in Midland, Texas, says anything. So what have you learned about Harrisburg? What have you learned about this community, and where have you kind of found your spot?
So Harrisburg is I like the city of Harrisburg. The ballpark is actually technically not in Harrisburg because it's located on a piece of land called City Island, which is smack dab in the middle of the Susquehanna River. And so one thing that gives this area its identity is the river. And we had a night, unfortunately, got washed away. We played one inning of baseball before we had a torrential downpour that pushed the game to the next day, and so ended the theme night 8 innings too early. But it's an annual East Shore West Shore game that happens here, and we have fans from the East Shore, which is where Harrisburg is. It's where the capital of Pennsylvania is, and then we have the West Shore, which is a lot of suburbia. And so we have more fans that come from one side than the other, but we give out hats, red for one side, blue for the other. Both are Senators colors anyway. And so that kind of is a major identity that I'm finding of this area is East Shore versus West Shore. And it's a fun rivalry that probably is taken too seriously in some areas than it should otherwise. But it's a cool kind of identifier as to what there is in this area. Beyond that, it didn't occur to me how close I was going to be to agriculture while also being in city life. I live 7 minutes driving from downtown Harrisburg, and yet I live about 2 minutes driving from a dairy farm and 5 minutes from cornfields. So it's a kind of a unique area in that regard as well. And certainly that's not really that unique, but coming from California, where you're either around people or around nothing, but not both at the same time.
Right.
It's its own sort of dynamic.
And coming from Midland, where you're around oil
and dirt.
Oil and dirt.
And,
love to the people. Love to our Rockhounds friends.
Absolutely. I miss being in Midland. I would love to go back and visit. I think my favorite joke about Midland is that the tallest point in Midland, Texas, is the mound at Memento Bake Park.
You might be right on that. Let's talk a little Senators then. Just talk to me a little bit about, you talked about the East Shore, West Shore thing. I think it's so fascinating. Where does the ball team fit in the community and really between those two communities? Because, That's what I love the most about minor league baseball, is it really does kind of bring people together.
We, I mean, not unlike other places, we are the outlet for people in the summertime. We have kind of a unique dynamic here because we have an amusement park, a rather large amusement park that can draw people in the summertime. But just like any other place, we are summertime leisure. We are the signs that school is coming to an end, the weather is getting warmer, and that there is going to be stuff to do during the days and nights in the summertime when it's nice to be outside. Now, of course, being in a part of the country where it's not nice to be outside for a couple months out of the year. So I think that's kind of the real the romanticism behind baseball of the boys of summer. I think really resonates in a place like this because summer is the time of outdoor opportunity that really is not available otherwise. And if it is, you're not going to sit outside at a baseball game in December. You're going to sit outside of the football game for a few hours, or you're going to go skiing or play in the snow.
Yeah.
So we here, we kind of fit into that dynamic of, oh, we know it's getting close to summer because the Senators are about to start up baseball again. The lights are on at City Island, which can literally be seen from either shore. And it really helps to, I don't want to say unify because there isn't really any division, but it helps to be that beacon of what there is to do in the summer here in the way of sports. Because we have a AAA hockey team that plays here in the wintertime. And we're 2 hours from Philadelphia, one direction, 3.5 hours from Pittsburgh, the other, 2 hours from DC in a different direction. New York City's 3.5 hours in another direction. So we have pro sports at the top level all around. But in Harrisburg, this is what there is, and especially in the summertime. And we are happy to be that.
And you say, or you, not you, but they say it's hard to get romantic about baseball. That was about romantic. Let's talk about the rest of the season going on. You've got about a month left in the schedule. What can we look forward to at the home schedule for the Senators as we get ready to wrap up?
Well, so we have tonight is the start of week number 7 for us. So homestand-ish number 7. We have 12 games in 13 days over the next couple weeks. So a lot going on. I was kind of hoping, and I'll be happy if I get to surprise you with this. The game you'll be at later this week is going to be our 9-inning Christmas vacation celebration. So we will have Christmas themed everything on Friday night. It is the first of our 2 consecutive holidays celebrations, because next Friday is 79 days to Halloween, our Halloween celebration.
All right, let's talk Christmas. Let's stop. Let's stop. Okay. All right. Producer's note. I've already showed him what my wardrobe was going to be. I'm rethinking the whole thing now that it is Christmas. So, what about Christmas night? Like, will there be a jersey giveaway, an auction? Are there alternative stuff going on? What's happening?
We will have some gifts for children. We have some elf jersey giveaways that are unfortunately maxed out at youth extra large. And then kind of going back to the original topic of what this year was going to be like. Unfortunately, just because this all caught us by surprise, we were unable to flesh it out like we would in a normal year. So our Christmas night this year is going to be a little bit heavier in the audio visual standpoint than anything else, but there will be lots of music. It's a Friday night fireworks show, so there will be fireworks themed to Christmas music. We'll have Christmas themed video clips and audio clips throughout the game, Christmas themed headshots. And so, and then we'll have a lot of our on-field games have been augmented to be Christmas-ified, I guess. We do a ring toss, but instead of them being batting helmets that have broom handles off the end of them, they'll be inflatable deer antlers. We'll have a Christmas makeover where instead of what we have a game called Dad Makeover, where we let kids draw with lipstick and other makeup on their dad's faces. We're going to do that, except it will be tinsel and Christmas tree theme. So things like that, things that we're able to do to still make the night special, still make the night unique. We do have decorations. We'll have decorations up around the ballpark. But from that standpoint, it's still going to be a fun night because we are going to make it a fun night.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about the Halloween thing, and then we'll have to wrap it up. But Halloween has kind of become, I've seen no team do Halloween stuff. And then now you guys are going to do one this year, and Bowling Green's doing one in September. It does seem like the sort of early Halloween deal kind of is something that really could be exploited and could be a lot of fun.
We have we have that night planned as well. That's one benefit to having 2 weeks in a row is all the ducks are lined up in advance, just because we get that Monday off in between series, and then it's right back into the grinder. So we are ready to go for Halloween. We actually are finalizing some details right now with a local scare factory, I guess, a haunted house, haunted field, who's going to come out and do face painting for us. We're going to do summertime pumpkin carving, watermelons. But yeah, I think it's in the dog days of summer. That's kind of the harbinger. It's just like baseball is when it starts. It's okay, summer's coming. You get to August, it's okay, baseball's ending. The weather is soon going to turn. We're going to get into fall, which I've been told here is beautiful because it's actually fall and not just 5 degrees cooler than summer. And then Amen. You get into Halloween, which is really the best sort of harvest celebration or beginning of the harvest celebration of that season.
I might need to make another trip. Now, Jess, before we go, we wanted to send a special shout out to Don Gillingham. Don, as you know, is a big fan of our show and really enjoyed your stuff. It's funny, Jess, because Don would message me if you don't come on enough, and if Andy doesn't come on enough, and if Scott doesn't come on enough, and he'll be like, where's, and I tried to explain to him that you're working. So that's why you haven't been on a lot. But Don had a motorcycle accident, and he's going to be okay, but we want to do a special shout out to him and wish him well.
Absolutely. I think anybody who works in minor league baseball knows the connection that we have with the fans, with our fans, is really more important than anything else. And certainly from my standpoint as a director of game entertainment, if the fans aren't enjoying themselves and if the fans aren't having a good time, then what am I doing? And I think that goes to really anything in life. And certainly I've adapted it that way. And to have people who enjoy watching the show and enjoy individual segments, whether they be mine or anybody else's, it's essential to have those connections. And then when you have them established, cherish them as best as can be. So Don, please get better. We only have 4 weeks left this year, but who knows, maybe next year. I happen to have you out here for a game. Maybe we'll do 73 days to Halloween. I'm not sure what it'll be next year, as the schedule hasn't been revealed to us yet. But get well soon, and hopefully you're able to enjoy the show.
All right, Jess, well, we're going to let you go. And I guess before we let you go, put you on the spot one last time. This is the 150th episode of Let's Get To, even though our ballpark appearance won't air until 153. I just wanted to take a second to thank you for being such an integral part of the show, both behind the scenes and on camera. And I know we haven't had you on camera as much as we wanted to this year because you are working, but just thank you so much for being a big part of the show.
I'm since the first time you walked into, I guess it wasn't my control room in Midland because I was just the intern, but since the first time you walked in there, the passion that you exude for baseball is really what I cherish with my staff. What I cherish about myself is that really doing what you love. And you love baseball, you love film production, and mashing the two together, I think is you got my chocolate in your peanut butter, you got your peanut butter in my chocolate sort of deal, where it doesn't matter how it got there, it's good. And so to be a part of this, a passion project with something that I am also passionate about has been the easiest thing for me. Certainly talking, I could go for another 50 minutes, but I don't think we have that time. So there's that aspect as well. But it's been a pleasure. I look forward to all future episodes, all future anniversaries and milestones. And really your 153rd episode is just your third 150th. So it's an extra celebration.
Let's do it. He is Jess Knaster from the Harrisburg Senators. Thanks so much for jumping on Let's Get To.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And now, on to close it out, the right-hander from Houston, Texas, James Christopher.
All right, so we're actually back here on the Corn Crib. We're with General Manager of the Cornbelters, Matt Durkin. Matt, how we doing?
I'm good. A little wet, but outside of that, pretty good.
How has, we talked a little bit off camera about this. Just been a challenging season. We're getting a lot of rain.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's baseball in the summer. Can't do much about it. We always hope that it doesn't rain, but unfortunately, Mother Nature is one thing we can't predict and control. So it is what it is, but we're just going to make the best of the situation we can.
Since this is the second game I was supposed to go to that's been rained out, am I allowed back?
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Seriously, though, we pulled up and your staff is jumping, everybody's jumping, dealing with customers and all that stuff, as well as you. You guys are always so good at that. But how much of a challenge is it to basically have to change plans midstream?
It's difficult, especially when you have nights like concerts, fireworks, bobbleheads, your bigger promo nights. It can be difficult to find a date that works for everyone. So that's definitely, once we get everything wrapped up with guests that have tickets for tonight and know what's going to expect, our next thing is, okay, what's a good night for everyone that we can move this to and really make a special kind of trip of the night.
I know that part of the tonight was supposed to be Chicago Farmer was playing, and that was a big part of Country Music Night, the concert afterwards. How much of that was of that math of what his schedule looks like was part of how you've had to figure out?
Yeah, so kind of mid-afternoon we said, hey, what are dates that work if the rain unfortunately does not hold up for us. So next Thursday, it will be the new Chicago Farmer Night. They're really flexible with us, which we're pretty fortunate about. And that's just a great relationship we have with Nick at NTL Productions and Cody, main guy at Chicago Farmer. So we're really fortunate to have those two as partners of us.
And the fans are all pretty easygoing about the fact that it's going to be a change?
Yeah, I think now that they know next week it's going to be the same relationship, and he's going to be out here again next Thursday, really helps kind of ease people's minds.
Well, thanks for jumping on, Matt. This is our 150th episode, and I really want to, I said in an earlier segment how important your relationship has been for us, and I just want to thank you again for supporting our show so much and everything you do for minor league baseball.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you guys. We've had tons of media coverage since, but you were the first ones that really gave us a shot, so we can't be more appreciative of you.
So it does wrap up this episode of Let's Get To. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes you rains. We love the Normal Cornbelters. If you're in the area, make sure you get out and see them. And when it's not raining, get out to see whatever baseball team is close to you. Get you some peanuts, get you some Cracker Jack.
And let's get to.